Yesterday.
Our station, our talent, our people.
Tidang Raki.
Good afternoon, everybody. That was Absolute Zero and playing Picasso. So today we start an entirely new program in real estate, and it's called the Start Property Show. And during this program, we wish to enlighten you about everything relating to purchasing property, owning property, and selling property. So we ask you to stay tuned to the radio station, to Radio Eerste, the biggest radio, leading radio in Wi-Fi and live streaming. And we hope that you will enjoy the program. We're going to be spending the next hour with you, explaining different aspects of real estate and property ownership. So my name is Ivan Neethling, and I am the principal of Startprop Real Estate, and we're based in Eerste River in the Rose Center opposite ShopRite Checkers. And we hope to have an engaging discussion with you. I'm asking you to please call in on the radio station and also to send us the WhatsApps. You've got our number. It's 064 536 9095. One of the things we also want to do on the show is to showcase local artists, jazz musicians from Cape Town, and to be able to bring young and fresh talent to the people of Eerste River and all those that are live streaming across South Africa and across the world. So we hope that you're going to enjoy this feature with us. I hope you're going to enjoy the program with us. And as I said, we started the show today with Absolute Zero playing Picasso. So just a little bit about ourselves and who we are and who I am. And I've been in real estate now for close on to 30 years. And I've been a principal for as long as that period. And really involved with all aspects of real estate in residential property, commercial property, letting property. So if you have any questions, any concerns that you'd like to raise, please send us a WhatsApp on the 064 536 9095 number, and we'll be happy and glad to answer those questions in studio. So to kick off our discussion today, I would like to start with a question that was raised by Uncle Merv, and I think all of us know Uncle Merv. And his question was, how does he go about acquiring property? How would you begin to own a property? What must you do to own a property? So that's one of the first topics we're going to discuss today. And we'll be going into quite a few complicated issues as well as the programs continue. We're going to be on air every Wednesday during 12 and 1. And we're hoping that you will grow your listenership and advise others to also tune in to Radio Eerste so that they can be part of the program where we're educating people and uplifting their skills and empowering people about home ownership and the value of real estate. So coming back to Uncle Merv's question about how would one go about to acquire property, how would you go about acquiring your house? So the first thing is obviously one would need an income. You would need to be earning a salary and basically to have a good credit record. So I think that is the first step to becoming a home owner. So if you're not employed or you're unemployed and you don't have a fixed income, then one would have to go through the state and put yourself on a waiting list to acquire one of the government subsidized houses. But really what we want to focus on is for individuals who are wanting to enter the market. Everybody owns a property. Nobody wants to rent and pay someone else's rent. You want to own your own property. You want to have your own home one day. And so the place to start is obviously to build up a good profile, to build up a good credit record. So when you approach the bank, approach a financial institution, they can review your financial status and they can decide, yes, we want to fund this person's property. We would like them to come into the market of real estate. So one of the things we do as a company, as Startprop, we have agents that are working in the market, and they really, are the first port of call for somebody wanting to come into real estate. Someone will contact the agent and say, look, I'm interested in this house. Can I qualify for this house? Can I buy this house? How do I go about putting myself, out there and also becoming a homeowner in the home ownership space. So what the agent will do is really get your pay slips and get your bank statements together and look at, ask you, what is your credit report like? How are you conducting your credit report? And so many people don't value their credit report. They don't value the way they treat their finances. They got accounts with whoever you've got an account with, and you decide, well, I can pay when I want to pay as long as I'm paying my account. They can't really do anything without realizing that that's actually adversely, it's negatively affecting my credit rating, negatively affecting my credit score. So, including your school fees, everything really is noted down via the credit bureaus. All this information is being captured monthly and daily as we conduct our affairs in the marketplace, and there's a record being built up of how our credit profile is looking. And so when we approach the bank is going to look at your pay slips, look at your salary, and they're going to say, well, this person is good to buy a house of 800,000 or 700,000. But if they look at your the way you've conducted your account, the way you've the way you've managed your accounts, and then they're going to say, this looks like a high risk person. Although they have the money to afford it and you can qualify for the bond, they're not happy with the way you've conducted your account. So sometimes we take things for granted. We won't provide for debit orders that go through, and your debit orders are bouncing, and your school fees are being paid late. And you say, I'll catch up with it again. I'll make up for it again. But the bank says, oh, this person can't pay 250 rand school fees, or they can't, service their South C account, which is maybe 100 rand a month. How are they going to pay a bond of 10,000 a month or 8,000 a month? So all of these things are important. So Uncle Merv, I hope you're listening in on the program today, because I'm really wanting to put you on the first steps to becoming a successful homeowner, to own your own property. And I'm saying the first place we must start is with our credit rating and reviewing what is our credit score like, and can we put ourselves out there in the marketplace. So, that's where we will start. And then the next thing, obviously, is then to qualify yourself by the bank, and some of the banks will do a pre-qualification. They'll say, okay, right, based on this earnings, based on this income, you qualify for the 800,000 house that you're wanting to buy. And the important thing is, as a homeowner, there are other costs that are also involved, Uncle Merv, when you're purchasing a property. So it's not just, getting the bond and paying the bond every month. There are other costs that we need to understand. As a first-time buyer, as a first-time homeowner, I'm coming into this space and I'm not sure what I'm letting myself in for. So the first thing is the agent needs to advise you that, do you have your costs ready? There's costs that must be paid to an attorney for the transfer and the registration of the property. So if I'm going to be buying the house through the bank, and the bank is going to give me they're going to finance this house, they're going to give me a mortgage bond for the property. So if I'm financing the house via the bank, then I'm going to have to pay a bond registration attorney to register the bond on behalf of the bank. And then I'm also going to have to pay a transferring attorney. So there's two attorneys I'm already paying monies to. And I must have that money ready when I take transfer. So the bank is giving me the bond. They're saying, hey, congratulations. You are on your way to becoming a homeowner, and we're going to give you the bond because you've qualified and you've conducted a very good credit rating. So you're qualifying for the bank, for the bond. But you need to now have your costs ready. And those costs are going to work out in the region of about 7 to 8% of the value of the property. So we need to have that money in cash. We must have that money ready to pay the bond and transferring attorney. So depending on what the house is, will determine what the costs are going to be. So in February of this year, SARS came out and they said, look, we are granting an exemption for people that are buying under 1.1 million. We grant you an exemption on your transfer duty, so you don't have to pay tax to SARS on the transfer of the property, but you still have to pay the attorney for the transfer costs. So we will go into transfer costs and bond costs at the later stage, but for now it's just important to know that if you're going out and you're going to purchase a property, that you're going to need money in your pocket to cover the costs once you get that bond. So there are institutions and there are situations where the bank will afford you the cost. The bank will borrow you the cost. They will say, right, fine, you're a buyer and you actually qualify for more for the cost to be raised as part of the bond. So then we go to the bank and we'll approach the bank and say to the bank, look, can you give me 105% bond? Can you give me 107% bond to cover my bond cost, to cover the cost of the transfer and the cost of registering the bond onto my name? So the bank will then consider it, and certain banks are also, from time to time, they run specials and they want to write business, they want to increase their bond book, and so they will offer that to the client and say, look, if you come to us, you do a bond with us, we will cover your costs, we will give you the costs. The important thing is that you must realize is that you must be able to afford this additional cost onto the bond and onto the payment that you're already making, that you've qualified for in terms of the bond. So that's the first step of going into the market, is knowing that I can qualify with a bank and that the bank is prepared to give me the money. So now I've got the 800,000. I must now go and find a suitable property. I must go and find a house of the value of 800,000. So the important thing is that, when you're buying a house, there's certain things that you want to look at. There's certain, you're so excited, you got this, the bank said to me, you're pre-approved, you got the 800,000, I want to run out there now with my 800,000, I want to do it, I want to get this house sorted out. And, we're not very discerning when we're going out there, and we're driven by emotion, and who can blame us? We're going to own our own property, and so we rush through the properties, and we're not really looking. We're not looking with the detail. We just caught up with the excitement and the enthusiasm of the moment. And so there's certain things that we must do before we rush out and put our pen to paper and sign the offer to purchase. Right? So we must also remember that the agent is taking us out to various properties. At the end of the day, they want to also close the deal. They also want their sales. They're also in the business to earn an income besides looking out for the best property for you and sourcing the best opportunity for you. They also want to close their deal. So it's important that you know what you're looking for. What is it that I need? What is it that I require? So what we're going to do is, before we go and look at how we will make an assessment of a property, we're going to have our next jazz artist come on. We're going to have a jazz song by Airborne, and I think we know Airborne, and we're going to be playing Autumn Leaves by Airborne. And this program will be showcasing lots of local artists from Cape Town, and I'm hoping that you will send in a thumbs up at least if you like the song, if you like the jazz song. Later in the program, next week and the weeks following, what we will do is we will look at the number of votes, the number of thumbs up that we're getting for the songs, and then the song that gets the jazz artist that gets the most songs, we will close our program again with that song. So I'm asking you to encourage, the local artists, show them your support, show them that you like their music, that you enjoy their music. Well, Airborne is an institution in the Western Cape. There's not much that we can add to them. So I thought I'll bring you, as part of our program offering today, Autumn Leaves.
Sunburned hands I used to hold. Since you went away, the days were long, and soon I'll hear old winter songs, and you Since you went away, the days long, and soon I'll hear a winter song. I miss you most of all, my darling. When autumn leaves starts to fall, when autumn leaves starts to fall, and when autumn leaves starts to fall.
Yes, listeners, I hope you enjoyed that. That was Airborne bringing you Autumn Leaves on the properties, the Start Property Show on Radio Eerste. And Radio Eerste, as you know, is the leading internet radio station in Cape Town. And I hope you're enjoying this time with us. We're discussing property and real estate. And we're talking about all aspects of real estate. And those of you that are wanting to come into the market, that are wanting to buy property and own property, this is the radio station that you need to tune into every Wednesday. Between 12 and 1, we'll be discussing property and property-related matters. And so, first part of our program, we discussed someone who's wanting to buy a house. In fact, Uncle Merv asked us, how do I go about acquiring a house? And we spoke about the finances that we need to get right, our pay slips and our bank statements and the way we conduct our account. And the bank could give us a pre-approval and tell us, look, you qualify for this amount, you can go out there and purchase a property. So now in the second part, we want to look at, we're out there, we're riding with the agent. The agent is showing us many houses and we're excited and we're emotional and we're understanding, wow, I'm going to own my own property. I'm entering that world where I've got assets and I've got collateral, and owning real estate is a very powerful vehicle. It's a very powerful means of building your own asset base, of building your wealth and building your capital. And that's where you want to start. In Afrikaans, they got a saying that says, "Eers die koekie, dan die vroukie." And I'm not sure if we still live by those words. And that says first the house and then get the wife and the family and separate yourself. A man will separate himself from his family, and together he will build a house, a home for his family. And so today it's about home ownership. It's about property. It's about going out there and owning your own property. So when you're out there with the agent now and you've got this money and it's burning a hole in your pocket, we don't want you to make the wrong choices. We don't want you to make the wrong decisions. And so before you go out, you should have a clear idea about what kind of property serves your needs. So yes, I think we all want to live in a 5 million rand mansion or a 20 million rand mansion. We've seen this on the American shows, the swimming pools and the tennis courts, but we all have to start somewhere. And that 800,000 is only going to give me a limited access to where I can begin to put my foot in the property market. So tick the boxes. So if I'm a young family, I'm starting a family, then I want to look at, can I expand on this house? Is there opportunity for me to build on? Can I renovate? Can I build on an extra bedroom? Or if I'm family owned and I'm looking at young children, perhaps I've got young children now, and I'm saying, look guys, we must now get into our own space. We can't be renting a house somewhere. We must have our own property. And then I need to look at, okay, what's important for the schools? the access to schools for the children. And, you know, if I'm taking transport to work, I'm to look at the access routes to the best transport interchanges. Is there a rapid bus system? Is there a quick, you know, in and out to get to work? Or am I going to sit an hour on the roads? I'm frustrated. So these things are all important when you're making a decision and a choice in which property to acquire, which property to choose. Some of the other things that I want to look at is the noise factor. So I'll get a house, 800,000. Wow, it's beautiful property. I'm in love with it. It's on the main road. It's right. It's in in Hillcrest, for example, in Blue Downs Drive, Hillcrest, and it's a busy road and there's traffic and the taxis. So I must ask myself, am I going to be happy living here with all this noise going on, or am I going to become frustrated that there's always people and noise past my house? I'm working hard every day. When I come home and I come to all this noise. So what are the important facts that I need to make note of when I'm considering buying a property? And so I've got a list and I'm telling the agent, look, I want a 2-bedroom house, but it must have room to expand. Or I'm looking for a 3-bedroom house, but it must have a garage for my car. I need to protect my car. So these are the little things that you need to look at in making a decision in where you want to stay. And for example, you know, if your church is important for you, if your mosque is important for you, a place of where you worship, if that's important for you, then you want to be close to your place of worship. And so how far do I have to travel from our place of worship to from where I'm living? Because that's a big part of a lot of people's lives, is making those choices. So we consider all of these things, and then we tell the agent, look, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a 3-bedroom. It doesn't have to have a garage, but it must have off-street parking. It must be a safe environment. Have you got something that fits that bracket for the 800,000 that I can get from the bank? So those are the questions, and the agent will then look at the stock available, the houses available, and then begin to introduce you to certain properties that you can make an assessment of. And the next thing is going into the property and making a decision about this house. How does the house talk to you? You know, is it a dark house? Is it open plan living? Is it a nice situated property? And important thing is, who's the neighbors that I'm going to be living next to? Who's this man with all these big dogs that's barking here crazy? Are they going to bark through the night? And find out, why are these people selling? Why are they getting out of this house? And I love this house and it looks like a beautiful property. Why would they want to give up this property? So find out why they're leaving, and find out how the neighbors are and how the area is. And it's very quick to find out what the crime stats are. You know, what is the element in the area? Is it under control? Is there a neighborhood watch? How close are the shops, the bus terminus, and as I mentioned before, all those things that are important for us in making a determination on the property that we want to choose. And so we tick all those boxes, we go through the house, we have a look at the condition of the property. What is the finishes like, okay? How much work must be done on this property? And again, as I said, you know, sometimes we look right past these things because we're so excited, we're so emotional about our purchase that we think, this is small, that's small, I can do this, I can do that, okay? And if it doesn't have all the rooms or doesn't have a garage, I'll build it in a year's time without realizing that it's what it's going to cost us, and, you know, how it's going to set us back financially. So sometimes we need to step back a little bit and look, just take the emotions out of it and make a good decision, a firm decision based on the facts. And it's always good to take somebody else with you that's not so emotionally tied to the property. Some people take their parents, they'll take a builder with them and say, come with me and just have a look. Or you can take someone else, you know, that knows about property and real estate and say, look, I'm considering buying this house. What do you think of the property? And they take a walk through and they can evaluate the property from a non-emotional type of point of view. But at the end of the day, you know, the decision will rest with you, whether you want to acquire that property or not. And, you know, when you're driven like that and it meets your basic requirements and the price is right, you know, we want to sign. And sometimes you're going to be put under pressure. They're going to say, you'll hear the story. Oh, there's somebody else coming to look at this house tonight. You know, if you don't take it now, it could be gone tomorrow. And so you're feeling, oh, I'm under pressure now because there's other people coming to see this house. I better decide quickly, if I want this house, because where am I going to find another property that meets these requirements that, that is the same property as the one that we're looking at the moment? And will I get this value again? So there's a lot of competing interests here, a lot of different voices that I'm listening to. And somehow I need to silence these voices, and I need to make a discerning decision based on the facts and what I can afford and what the value is that the property offers me, and taking all that emotion out and come to a decision about owning the property and buying this property. So again, when I'm looking at the condition of the house, I'm going to go through the property, I'm going to look at the kitchen, check do the taps work, does the electrical plugs, all of those things, so all of that in place, in working order. I see there's a nice extractor fan in the kitchen. I wonder if it was ever switched on. Is there even power supplied to that fan? Okay, so we see a lot, but remember, we're looking at it, and we're awestruck, we are overcome with excitement and enthusiasm, and this is the house for me. And it may have been even the first house that you looked at, and you haven't even looked at other properties, you haven't considered what other properties have to offer in the same price bracket. So sometimes that's a good idea, is to step back and just look at some other properties and then determine, no, I still like that first house. I've seen 2 or 3. So, eventually the agent has to give you what is called a mandatory disclosure form. A mandatory disclosure form is a document that the agent must prepare, and the seller will sign it. And that will tell you what is the condition of this property, how's the roof, and how's the structural integrity of the property, and what is the plumbing like and the electrical like. So the seller will sign that mandatory disclosure form telling you that what is the condition of the property, and they will say, look here, this is like this and that's like that. And if you say, no, fine, I'm happy, I'm still happy to sign. I understand there may be a bit of rising damp, which I think we all have in the Blue Downs area, because we're living in these low floodplain areas, and so damp becomes a problem in the Western Cape, right? So you're saying, look, no, I'm happy, I'm signing for it. So remember, now you're signing for it, and so you must take responsibility afterwards. You can't, after the fact, say, oh, but when I went to see the house, it was summer, it was warm weather. Now the rain came, now the water's laying outside, and now this damp is coming up. It's a problem to me. So I must understand what I'm signing for, what I'm committing to. And so these things are important before we put that pen to paper and we sign the contract. And once we sign that contract, we locked in. We're locked in now. We can't back out, because now I've put pen to paper, and what I've written. It's cast in stone. Okay. So the next part of our program, we're going to look at what happens once you sign that document. And so to take us to the next program, we're going to be playing Ivan Hendricks. And Ivan Hendricks, one of his jazz songs is The Brighter Day by Ivan Hendricks. Thank you.
Hey there, music lovers. Looking for a place to find all your music needs? Well, look no further than Tom's, the heart of music. At our Tom's Heritage Square and Belleville stores, you can shop guitars, drums and percussion, studio and home recording equipment, pro audio and DJ equipment, pianos and keyboards. We're also the Western Cape's only authorized dealers of Gibson and Epiphone guitars. Come visit us at 65 Clayton Crux Street, Heritage Square, Cape Town, or 92 Edward Street, Tiger Valley, Belleville, and let our friendly and knowledgeable staff help you find what you need.
Eerste Rivier.
Our station, our talent, our people.
Tidang Raki.
Okay, guys, that was Alvin Hendricks, and he brought us Brighter Day. I hope you guys are enjoying the show, and I hope you're enjoying the local jazz artists. So every Wednesday, we're going to be on from 12 till 1, discussing property-related matters. We're going to invite the banks onto the program. We're going to have attorneys on the program. They're going to talk to us about the transfer processes. They're going to talk to us about, the banking requirements and what the bank wants to see in our, when we're approaching them for bonds and so on. So anything related to property, you're welcome to call in. You're welcome to WhatsApp us on 064-536-9095 right here on Radio Eerste Rivier. The leading internet radio station in Cape Town. You're welcome to join us. Every Wednesday, we'll be talking property and property matters. And remember, I'm the principal, Ivan Neethling from Start Prop. And our offices are in shop number 5, Rose Center, opposite ShopRite Checkers, next to Pick and Pay in Eerste Rivier. And we're there to support you, to assist you in acquiring your home or investing in properties, or if you're an investor and you have multiple properties, we're there to assist you and support you through all your transactions. So what we've covered so far is the buying process, approaching the bank, getting qualified by the bank, and then going out with the agent and looking at various properties, looking at various opportunities that we can find. And now we are about to commit in writing. We want to sign the contract. So if you've got any questions, please forward them through to us so that we can respond to them. And this morning we're still talking about to Uncle Merv, who was excited about coming into home ownership and owning his property, and he said, look, how do I get into this game? How do I get into becoming a home owner and to also have my own property? And why just one? Why not more properties? Why not become a landlord where you can rent out properties? How I become an investor? And so what we want to do at StartProp is to assist you and support you through that process. We'll assist you in getting your bonds, in getting your finances together, in getting your profile done, in terms of finding you a valuable property for your investment. And that you remember, you're buying probably one of the biggest assets that you're ever going to own, a house, which is, not tens of thousands, it's hundreds of thousands of rands, and you want someone capable, you want to have the right person walking next to you and supporting you and taking you through your steps. So, I've been in real estate now for more than 30 years. It's a long time. And part of what I do is that I'm the national chairperson of the Institute of Estate Agents of South Africa. So we have a professional body for all estate agents who belong and subscribe to that body and sign a code of conduct that they will operate and conduct themselves in the public to the best interest of their clients. And so we hold ourselves to that code of conduct. So next to me in studio, before we go further, I've got Mark Levita, who's one of our managers in StartProp, and he's there encouraging and supporting the agents in terms of their training and their formation, taking them through their paces. So welcome, Mark. I hope you're enjoying the show with me today, and thank you for coming along to support me in what is our first radio feature. Guys, we're really here to support you and educate the public and empower the public, empower people to own their own property and to make the right choices and make the right decisions, and to know that they're getting good solid advice at the end of the day that they can use to become homeowners and to own their own property and so on. So we're at the point now where we're ready to commit. We're ready to commit to the house. We looked at other properties. We've looked at other values. And we find, look, this house is really the house that I like. It is the first house, and I'm sure it's not just emotion. I've actually brought someone else in. They've said, no, this is a good price in a good area. I think you're making a very good purchase. So now I signed the offer to purchase. A contract between the buyer and the seller, and I put my terms to them. And in there, I'm going to say, look, I must get my bond must be sorted out. I've got a pre-approval from the bank, but I must get my bond sorted out, and I want to buy this house. And so we sign the contract, and from there, the documents now go to an attorney, to the transferring attorney, who's going to manage the transfer process. And at some time now, the transferring attorney is going to contact me and tell me, look, you need to pay in your costs. Where do you have the costs ready? So they're starting that process. So that process of transferring the property from the time that I sign the contract or the time that I'm going to move into the house, that process runs for about 2.5 to 3.5 months for the transfer process to wind itself up. So we always tell people, look, prepare yourself. It's going to be about 3 months to take transfer of the property. And there's a whole lot of legal processes that happen in between. So one of those legal processes is that the documentation must go to SARS. So what's important now is SARS will see, are your affairs in order as the purchaser? You're buying this house, is your tax affairs in order? And they will also check to see, is the seller's tax affairs in order? Has the seller complied with all their tax requirements? So in the contract that you're signing, that offer to purchase that you're signing the house, in there, one of the clauses will relate to SARS, and it'll say to SARS, my affairs are in order as the buyer and as the seller. So that's one of the legal things that we will look at. One of the other things that we must consider in this 3 months process, I'm very excited, and I saw this house, these people are leaving, they're actually moving out early because they're going up country and that house is going to be empty. So I'm asking the agent, is daar 'n kans dat ons kan intrek in die huis in? Kan ons intrek, kan ons nie vroeër intrek nie, moet ons die 3 maande wag? So do I have to wait for transfer to take place, or can I take early occupation? So that's a reality that can happen. And we can negotiate with the agent that we get early occupation of the property before the property is transferred into our name. We can already move in. But what's important now is that we must decide what is the occupational rental that must be paid in the property if I'm moving in. So that's important to decide upfront how much rent, what occupational interest are we going to pay, what amount are we going to pay the owner of the property whilst we are waiting for the transfer process to run its course. So it's not like a landlord and a lessee. When you are buying a property and you are occupying the property, taking early occupation, so you pay occupational interest. It's not really like a rent. So the other thing that you're also going to be liable for is the rates. So for the period that you're occupying the property, and then when you move into the property, as the future owner, you have to pay the rates of the property for that period that you're moving in, because you're enjoying it now as a future owner and not as a tenant in the property. I must also pay charges. If at nice days, this is the last of the good weather, it's going to be raining and the kids want to enjoy that swimming pool. So I can't just go and build a swimming pool. So anything that I want to do in the property, I'm going to have to get consent of the seller. And say, Mr. Seller, is it possible that whilst we're waiting for transfer, can we make certain changes to the house? Right? Can we change the garage door? So before you can start putting on burglar bars, we got to get consent. So there's, sometimes the sale doesn't go through. The bank can cancel up until the last day of registration. 3 months later, the bank can turn around and they can cancel the bond. And then where are we sitting? We've spent money on that house. We put in the swimming pool house. So I will go into details why the bank, under what circumstances the bank will withdraw the bond before the date of registration. So these are complicated issues that we will take slowly as we go through this journey in real estate. And so we'll unpack those issues. But the important point that we must now realize is that you don't just want to go and make improvements to the property then we are at risk. We lose the money that those improvements that we put in the property. Nobody's going to pay us back. There's no obligation on the seller now to pay us back. In fact, what the seller can do is the seller can say, look, you took occupation of the property, you made certain changes, and I want that property back the way I gave it to you. Okay, so the seller can insist on having receiving the property back in the same condition that he handed it to you. So what happened? There was 3 bedrooms and you decided, we don't actually need the 3 bedrooms. I only need 2 bedrooms, and I can open up the main bedroom and put in a huge ensuite and a fitting room, a dress room. My vrou het altyd gevra vir 'n dress room. Sy wil 'n kamer hê waar alle klere kan hang en 'n mooi ensuite. Toe vat ons nou die klein kamertjie en ons convert daai kamer in 'n dress room and into a bathroom. So now there's 2 bedrooms. And the sale is falling apart. Something happened, and we'll deal with what can go wrong and why sales can be set aside. But the fact is that the seller is insisting here. He sold me a 3-bedroom house. He doesn't want this dress room and this ensuite. He wants a 3-bedroom house back. That's how he sold it to me. So there's a lot of things that we must be cautious of, that we must be mindful of. There's a lot of things that, as I say, can go wrong with the sale. And as a potential buyer, the owner of the property, we need to be understanding all these consequences before we start making these changes. So before the house transfers, we will pay the costs. We will pay what the transfer duty and the bond cost to the bond attorney. So there's 2 attorneys that we're paying money to. And eventually, we will take transfer of the property, and the agent will advise us. The deal is now lodged. That's the magic word that they use in real estate. Everybody gets excited when they hear lodged. The deal is lodged. So once the deal is lodged, all the paperwork, all the governance, all the legal stuff have all been done. The property is now going to go to the deeds office. It's going to be lodged in the deeds office. And within 7 days, 10 days, it's going to be registered. So between 7 and 10 days, it's going to be registered into your name. It's going to become your property. You're going to own that property on the move. It's now registered onto your title. So the important thing here is at lodgement, you must now, agent saying, Meneer, 10 days, within 2 weeks, we're going to have to structure the keys, the moving of the house, the handing over the keys. And is your accommodation sorted out, Mr. Seller? Did you find another property that you're moving out of your property? And compliance certificates is done, the electrical compliance, the beetle compliance, and the plumbing certificates, everything is issued. There's basically, it's in good working order. All the compliance issues are dealt with, and it's going through the deeds office. Now, the bond is going to be registered on the property, and the property is going to become yours. So this time is excited. Why? Why is it so exciting? Because the agent is excited. They're going to get paid now. The agent is going to get paid their commission when the deal registers. So lodgement is an exciting time. We're getting ready. We've got 10 days before, between 7 days and 10 days before we're going to take ownership of that property. So we start lots of things that need to be done, planning the move. If you're living in a premises and you're renting that premises, now you're going to move into your own house. The important thing is that before you move out, you must write down the meter number of the water meter number. So on the day that you move, take a WhatsApp of the water meter and the electric meter, and you can see, look at, this is the units that was on there. So someone else is going to move in there, and then you're not going to be paying what they are consuming on the water meter and on the electricity. So important here at the day when you're moving out, it's to wrap those things up, right? And then the handover, oh my gosh, this is big. The handover of the property, you're there, and the property is being handed over. It's important now you get the codes, the codes for the alarm system, and all the the various things that happen when is dirt collection day. What is the number of the neighborhood watch? What is the number of the nearest help facilities in the area? So that's all part of the handover that the agent will give you. When they hand over the keys to you, is a list of all the property specifications, and obviously then you become the proud owner of your property, and you now really you're moving in, and you can anticipate what's coming. What is the next basic stage of your involvement as an owner of that property. So we're gonna wrap it there today. We're at that time. I think the hour has come and gone very, very quickly. I hope you guys have enjoyed the show. It's my first show. We want to just really empower you, bring you knowledge, bring you all the information. And I would welcome you to pop in at our offices. As I said, we're in shop number 5 in the Rose Center, opposite ShopRite, Checkers, and the Pick n Pay. We're directly opposite Pick n Pay in Eerste Rivier. And so we welcome you to come and have a discussion with us. If you're interested in the property business, if you're interested in becoming an investor, you want to own a serious number. How do I own my second property? How do I own 3 or 4 properties? Is that practical? Is that the reality? Can I also be in that space, right? And even if you're a seller and you want to be guided down this process, you want more information about, the value of your properties, and what can I get, and what is it the buyer's market, is it the seller's market? These are things that we will discuss on the program with you, and we're happy to share that information with you as well. So again, you can reach us on our telephone number is 061 4600 259. 061 4600 259. That's our office number. And as I said, we're at shop number 5 in the Rose Center. Startprop is the company you want to partner with you. And all the people, obviously, of Radio East Rivier are more than welcome. Tune in next week, Wednesday, to our second installment of the property show, the Startprop Property Show. So today, we're going to be playing out with the last local jazz artist. I'm playing out with Andrea Lisa and her song Ambition. Andrea Lisa with the song Ambition. I hope you guys are enjoying the local talent. Next week we've got another lineup. If you noted carefully, all our artists today began with the letter A. So I chose all our artists with the letter A, also being the month of April. And so next week at Wednesday, we're going to be moving on to some selected artists with the name B. So we're looking at Benjamin Jefter, Bev Scott Brown, Becky Miseleka, and Bridget Mitchell. Some exciting things on the program, some exciting jazz. We want to keep it local. We want to keep it lekker. We want to keep it like a Radio East Rivier. Onze mense, onze stasie. Nee? So guys, thank you very much for tuning in and being part of the show. Thank you.
start of the new school year, come down to Casmed Pharmacy to protect your little ones with Crash Guard and Centrum for Kids. For teenagers who need a little extra help concentrating, we've got you covered with Keen Mind and Neuromed for extra mental vitality. And parents, we haven't forgotten about you. Get your energy levels up for that school run with Baraka and Maxifit at Casmed Pharmacy. Our contact number 021 74